get started. Um, I'm Heather Holmes. I'm the Associate Director of the Libraries at Medical University of South Carolina, where the RML office is headquartered for Region 2. We have our new Executive Director, Christy Anderson, and she's on the call, but she's only been with us for a couple minutes. So I'm going to kind of lead us through this session, but she is here. I think April's our next slide for introductions for the regional team. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll go through and everybody can like just introduce yourselves, and if you put in the put it in the chat, I'm sorry, like what institution you're with, and I don't know, we always say like, what's the weather like where you're at, or anything cool that you want to add to your joining from Charleston, South Carolina, and it is actually sunny here today, and they said it was going to rain, so I'm happy with with that. So if y'all just in the chat, if you would put where you're from, and if there's anything else that you want to add to your greeting with us. I'm glad to see there are so many people here. Yay! This is great. April, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So while y'all are doing that, we'll just kind of go through the beginning part of things here. Just as a reminder of where Region 2 is in the grand scheme of things under NIH. This is kind of where we are. Of course, there's the executive office of the president, and then NIH is one of the main things under the executive office. Then there's National Library. Excuse me. Can you go back? National Library of Medicine, which is under NIH. And then a subset of National Library of Medicine is the network of the National Library of Medicine, which is where we fall into, start to show up in this grand scheme of things. That the network is, there are 7 regional medical libraries. We are Region 2, so we're 2 of 7. And there are also 3 offices and centers. There's a web office, a training office, and another one that I can't think of. And then we have an evaluation center. We have a data services center. So the network is actually quite big now. It used to, years ago, just be the RMLs, and now we are much bigger, and there's a lot more focus on some of the cool extra things that we do with all the data that we collect in terms of evaluation and things like that. So that's the network. And then Region 2 is us here in the southeast of the United States. Region 2 is, I think the next slide is a little map of, yes. So we consist of 6 states, and then we have the 2 territories of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, also as part of Region 2. So we are quite literally the southeast of the United States, and a little bit into the Caribbean. So this is who we are, where we are. Could go next one, please. Okay, so this is our team, the beginning of our team. Anyhow, we actually are fully staffed now in Region 2. Super happy to be able to share that information. Shannon Jones, many of you know, Shannon is the director of libraries at MUSC. She's also the director for the RML and the principal investigator, because this is, the RMLs are actually an award, just like what you're here to hear about today, from the National Library of Medicine. So Shannon's our PI. There's myself as the program advisor, Christy Anderson, who is our new executive director. We're so happy that she is here. And Angela Hayes is our grant administrator, and she manages the office for us also. And that was a good question. April, could you start the recording for this?
It is recording.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Okay. The rest of our team so far that we can show you and introduce you to, Fiona Washington is our technology communication strategist, Nick Vera, user experience and education, April Hobbs, research and data, and April is helping us out today with the technology side of things, and Shauna Hasty, who is our community engagement and outreach strategist. We do have one other position that has been filled, but I can't introduce that person yet because they haven't started. But that is the program coordinator, and that essentially is the support position that we have for the RML. So they work really closely with Angela in terms of administrative duties and things like that. And they're starting at the end of this month. So within a couple of weeks, we will have a full team of 7 people for the RML. Super, super excited about that. Next slide, please. Okay, so we are in the tail end of year 4 of our cooperative agreement. The award cycle for the cooperative agreements, which is the funding that we have through the National Library of Medicine, are 5-year cycles. And we are in, like I said, the end of year 4. You can see it highlighted here. The government goes, their calendar is May 1st to April 30th. I don't know why it's different than the rest of us, but it is. That's their calendar year. We are preparing for year 5, which will be upon us soon in a couple 6 weeks or so. And then we anticipate the call for, I can't remember exactly what it's called, RFAs, a request for applications for the next 5-year cooperative agreement. So we intend to be applying again for another 5 years and hope to be able to maintain our position as the RML for Region 2. Next slide, please. Okay. These are the focus areas that we have for this year. They've actually been the ones that we have used for the past couple years, but we felt that they were good and strong enough to continue just to carry them over for the last couple years. So emergency response and preparedness, which, you know, seems every place has their disasters and stuff, right? But here in the Southeast, we're particularly prone to hurricanes and tornadoes. I didn't know before I moved south that Alabama actually is the tornado capital of the United States, which is, I just assumed it was somewhere in the Midwest. So that was very eye-opening for me. But anyhow, there, you know, I mean, we have hurricanes here and wildfires. We just had some here in South Carolina. So all kinds of emergency response preparedness needs. Our priority populations, I'm sorry, the bullet points aren't here, but they are Spanish-speaking groups, library and information science students, and also engagement with minority serving institutions, which includes HBCUs, the historically Black colleges and universities, the tribal institutions, and the Hispanic serving institutions. So they are the target populations for us for the past couple years. Next slide, please. Oh, and public health and public libraries, I'm sorry. Also, those have carried over, the combination of those two working together. So currently, this is what our membership looks like. We have 1,300 total member organizations, 1,200 of which are active and current. So there's a few that are still part in there, but we haven't gotten much engagement with them. Essentially, that's what that means. But in the past year, we've got 25 new member organizations that have joined, and you can see the breakdown here of where they come from. And these numbers actually, even though they're 2, 1, 3, 6, whatever, are actually in proportion with what our numbers look like overall. Academic institutions are the biggest. Public libraries and community organizations fall into, so here you can see the breakdowns. So I misspoke, I'm sorry. Public libraries are the biggest, academic institutions being the second there. So anyhow, this is how the organization types are broken down within our membership for Region 2. I do not know how these numbers compare to other RMLs across the nation, but I would suspect they're pretty similar. Um, but I don't know the answer to that. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we're here to talk about is the funding for year 5. Um, the funding year begins May 1st. As I just told you, the calendar year for the government is May 1st through April 30th. And the applications are currently open. So you can go to nnlm.gov/funding. We actually have another link that could somebody put it, one of you guys put it in the chat, that goes directly to the offerings for Region 2? It's the one that we sent in the email. Anyhow, you have to be a member to apply for the funding. So if you're on this call and you're not yet a member, please sign up. We would love to have you be a member of NNLM. Free, you get all kinds of benefits for being a member that you can take advantage of. The categories that we have for the awards are health information outreach, professional development, exhibiting, emergency preparedness and response, and innovation impact. We also have a link here to the proposal writing toolkit that NNLM has available, which has a lot of helpful information that you could refer to, actually, not just to apply with us, but if you're doing any grant writing, there's some really good information in there too. This was also included in the email that we sent out inviting you to this session. So that's there. Next slide, please. So regarding our outreach awards, we just wanted to share this with you to give you an overview of kind of over the years where our the bulk of our funding how it's been distributed, the awards. So Alabama has received outreach awards in year 1 and year 4, for example, and so forth. You can see the rest of them there. The Virgin Islands were in 1 and 2, which was exciting for us. Sorry, April. That was exciting for us because the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico actually both were, they fell into that population before of areas that we didn't have a whole lot of engagement with, and we're working to really improve that. So we're excited about these numbers too, and that they're applying for the funding. So, okay, now you can go. Sorry. One of the other things that is offered through the RML is to get a specialization through the Medical Library Association. There is a consumer health specialization, which is called CHIS. There's a systematic review specialization and data services. Basically, you take classes that are all offered through NNLM, and which are free if you're a member, and you can take the classes and meet the requirements for whatever these are. The systematic review one doesn't, the classes aren't through NNLM, but the consumer health ones are. But anyhow, once you complete all the requirements of taking the classes, then you can get the certification of having, indicating that you have completed this. And there is a fee for that, but we will pay that fee for you if you're a member and have completed the steps that you need to for these specializations. So if that's something that you're interested in, start working on it. Take the classes and the webinars. They all also have there will be an indication next to the class, whether it's an NNLM class or one offered by MLA, will indicate if it contributes toward the specialization. So if there's a systematic review webinar that's coming up from MLA, if it's one that has been deemed appropriate towards this specialization, there'll be a little indicator there to let you know. Makes it easier for signing up for things. So that is, again, something else that is offered, a great benefit, because honestly, I don't know what the fee is, but you know, if you don't have to pay it yourself, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Even if I want to say it's like $50 or something like that, but I might be entirely wrong. I don't know. Um, but either way, benefit for being a member. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so we have some upcoming events. This is just kind of an FYI of things to share with you all. Um, One of the things that we are going to be starting is what we're calling the coffee break. Actually, this was April's idea that she brought to us when she started working with us. The coffee break is intended to be an opportunity for members within our region to, give a lightning talk or 20-30 minute presentation on like work that you're doing. Um, if you've been a subaward recipient, we would love to have you be one of the folks who contributes to this. But anybody who might be working on any of the topics that are of interest to the NNLM, we would love to have you participate in the coffee break session. We've not had any yet. I don't. Maybe we had. Did we have one a year ago or so, April? Or no?
We had one sign up, but I'm waiting for them to respond about when they want to present.
Okay. So anyhow, this, be a great opportunity to hop in on something new and just, have an opportunity to share about the work that you're doing. We also are in the process of scheduling some crisis preparedness, probably what will be a two-part offering. You wouldn't have to do both parts, of course, but part of it would be a webinar on just, general disaster planning and preparedness, things like that. And then we're also planning a second part of it that would be a hands-on workshop in person someplace. None of this is finalized yet, but that is the intention, to have a hands-on workshop for. We'll have the specialists come in and do training with us on more on the part of, so there's been a disaster. How do we salvage what's been damaged? What can we, all our books, what do we do? How do we get them dehydrated so that they can be used again, and so forth. We also are gearing up to start offering education training offerings. In fact, today we have our first one of the trauma-informed librarianship. When we made that available, the signups for it, there were 50 seats available, and they were all gone within like I don't know, like 2 hours or something. Like, it was, people signed up for that very, very quickly. So we were, first of all, very happy about that. But we're probably going to see about offering that one again, maybe in the summer at some point, because there was such high demand for it. We haven't spoke with the instructor about that yet, I don't think, but anyhow, because there was such high demand, I think the wait list now is like 160 people. So clearly this is something that that folks are interested in. Nick is working on putting some other things together, and we will make sure to communicate them out to you once we get things fully scheduled and ready for registrations. We also would welcome suggestions from you all of things that you might like have training on. Of course, keeping in mind that whatever it is that you're asking is in alignment with the National Library of Medicine's offerings and the focus areas of the network. I would love to be able to have a class on basket weaving, but unfortunately that's not within the scope of what we were able to do with our funding. So don't ask me about basket weaving, because I'm sorry, the answer for that will be no. But if there's something else that you feel would be a good offering, feel free to reach out to us and we will absolutely give consideration to it. Um, okay, I think that's the end of the slides. Is that right? Yes. Um, you can go to the QR code, actually, April. Um, we do have, we're asking for some feedback. So you can, if you are able to scan or just go to the link and give us some feedback on whatever you're interested in with Region 2. We now want to open it up to get questions from you about anything that you might have about funding opportunities or things within the next year. Hi, Rachel, I see your hand.
Hey, Heather. If anyone doesn't know me, I'm Rachel from the Biomedical Library at South Alabama in Mobile. And I actually have a couple of questions, if
Uh-huh.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so first and foremost, when you are filling out the application online and you're wanting to save it as a draft, you hit that little radio button, draft. Do you hit submit? And if you do, where do you find your draft application?
That is a good question. Angela, do you happen to know the answer to that?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Well, the reason I asked, and because I filled it out, but knowing my luck, I cut and pasted the answers and questions to a Word document. I did not hit the submit button because I thought that would submit the application. So I
Absolutely.
logged out and it disappeared.
And you never got an email?
Well, no, because I didn't hit submit. I put the radio button save as draft, and then I logged out of my account. And then when I
Okay,
logged back in, there was nothing.
So I think I'm not 100% positive. We'll look into this, and if somebody could, one of my team, if you all could make notes, so we can send a follow-up email. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that you still would hit submit, and it
Okay.
submits it, but it submits it incomplete, so that you can go back into your account, into your applications, and you should be able to open it back up.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking,
I'm
but
pretty sure that's how it works, but I'm not
okay.
100%. We'll check.
Okay.
right.
Okay, and then I'm going to be applying for an exhibit award. So do you need a letter of institutional support for an exhibit award?
No, we do not.
Okay, I didn't think so. And last, when you're doing the budget justification, when you're filling out the individual, dollar amounts, on the
Mhm.
budget justification, do you just detail what those figures above those slots are? Is that what
Yes.
you're asking for?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And then for the registration fees, would that just come under other funding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That would be fine.
okay. All right. And then when do you find out if you get the award? I mean, what do you know what time frame?
We're hoping to open as soon as we get notification from NIH for our year 5 funds. In a perfect world, we hope to be May 1st, because we got notice last year in April. So that would be our goal. Whether that happens or not is left up to NIH and NNLM, but that is our plan, the first part of May.
Okay.
We
Okay.
opened things a lot earlier this year than we have in the past, to hopefully be able to give you all more time to be able to work on your projects too. So if things work the way that we ideally would like them to, if we can give you the go ahead to start working on things, in May or June, as opposed to what's been September, October in
Right.
past years, you'll have a lot more time to be able to complete your work. So that's our hope. But we'll let you know as soon as we get the notice of award from NLM.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oretta, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am, you are. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
So, a couple of questions. I have a choice at the moment between two conferences that I normally attend. I'm at an HBCU here in Fort Valley State University, And one is the Georgia Environmental Public Health Conference, of which I thought would be a great place to put this information because it's public health. We have a lot of folks from the state offices, from the local offices that are in attendance of this. But then we also have and I noticed that public health was one of the areas, so I may have already answered my own question about which one is more realistic. But the other is the Georgia Veterinary Medical Association has their fall meeting, and of course, it's full of academics and veterinarians and veterinary technicians, of which I'm a licensed 30-year veterinary technician. So,
Okay.
but I am the program coordinator for the Masters of Public Health program here at the university. So,
Hmm.
I was also looking at that as a potential for the exhibit award. Would veterinary science fit into, even though it's not mentioned? I know public health is mentioned, so should I lean more toward public health?
Um,
Because obviously we can't fund both of the conventions, but the amount that's on the table, the $2,000, is just about what it would cost to do the registration, the booth, and for me to travel to the event because they're both within the state.
yeah. So I think, as long as you put the right spin on the veterinary one, I think it would be fine. I mean, the high level requirement, for lack of a better word, is that you just have to incorporate resources from the National Library of Medicine into it. So,
Hmm.
if you have an exhibit booth set up and you're you're talking about I don't know, bird flu, for lack of a better
Hmm.
example, that is not only a veterinary concern, but it's also very much a public health, requiring health information, so forth. So I think that, as long as you put that type of spin on it, I think, I mean, you could consider either. The other
Hmm.
thing that you could consider instead of exhibiting, or in addition to exhibiting, would be a professional development award to just attend.
Okay, and that now, can you apply for both of those?
Yeah.
Okay, so I expect to be actually a presenter at the Georgia Environmental Health one. And so I was also thinking from the standpoint of the Exhibitors Award that, that would be a good platform to direct people and, get even more press for the booth, so to speak,
Sure.
you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe look at the Exhibitors Award for the Georgia Environmental Health the Public Health Conference, and then look at a professional development for the other. And then is the professional development, I'm assuming is it also a Region 2 award?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
And
in
those
the,
ones are reserved for attendance. And it doesn't necessarily to be, just to be clear, those don't have to be in person.
hmm,
But it's attendance, however you want to define that, at a professional development opportunity. So, something that you would get credit for
right,
attending,
yeah. And
contributing.
I'm thinking because the veterinary one, I would be going also to satisfy because I'm a licensed
Right.
technician in the state, so
Hmm.
I'd be satisfying CEs for my license requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I would do if I were you would be just, take a look at both of them and see, um, which might be better for, um, what your intended purpose is with the
Hmm.
attendance. But yeah, you can absolutely apply for more than one. I mean, that it is an application, it will be, reviewed and
Hmm.
um, so forth. So I can't guarantee that we would
Right. Oh, well, yeah, certainly
I
not.
would
Yeah.
love to be able to do
In
that.
a perfect world, we would just fund everybody on this call
Well,
and we'll just, that's the end of it. Okay. And then the only other thing I had was I noticed it said to go into the NLM list of databases, resources, and APAs for a list of resources. So I guess just go in there and look at the different things.
Mm.
Are the resources things like that we can print out to hand out, or is it what are
It's all kinds of stuff. I mean, there
okay.
is an entire page of all of our handouts that you can hit the download button on and print as many as your
Hmm.
heart's content.
Yeah.
Um, You can also, uh, direct people if you're speaking with them at the booth, for example, to that site, because again, it's open to anybody that can or want to download things. Um, but also, again, if you're exhibiting, you can have like a laptop or an iPad there with you also, and specifically go to those places, either within, depending on what it is, if it's something within the NNLM website, directly, take them and show them where that is. For example, like disaster resources. NNLM website has an entire section dedicated to disaster resources.
Okay.
NLM does also, but honestly, I don't know how to get to theirs quite as easily. But basically, that's what you would how you would work your resources into.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming that they don't do things like where I've done things before where some if you were espousing or uh, advocating for a particular product or a particular thing, that they would send you like placards or things to sit at, display material. Like,
Mhm. So yeah, in our case, if it's being funded by us, your placards have to be National Library Medicine or
hmm
Network of National Library Medicine stuff.
Okay, say that again now.
If it's something that we are funding, so an
hmm
exhibit award, for example,
Right.
the items on your table have to be from us.
Right, right, yeah, understandably. And I think my question was, do you offer or do you know if you offer any things like tablecloths or anything that you send out and then we send them back to you when we're finished
Oh
using
yeah,
them?
no, I'm sorry, we don't have
Okay, that's what
we
I
don't
was,
do that.
yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
good
Yeah,
question though. Good question.
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I'll definitely thank you for putting me onto this professional development because that may also that
Mhm.
we may be able to kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, just reach out to us.
Sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
hmm
Lamont, I see your hand. Yeah. Lamont, are you there? There you are.
Okay, there
There you
I am.
There you are. Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, real quick. So just want to make sure that I know you mentioned the priority areas,
Mhm,
and we do have funding now. We want to apply to continue and expand some of the things that we've already been doing.
mhm.
Just want to make sure that we're okay in terms of the language and populations that we've been already targeting. That we can still say, hey, this is the specific group of people that we're targeting and that kind of thing. Um, and I'm sure you understand what I'm
I
asking.
actually,
So
yes, I do. You
help
can
me
see
out.
I'm trying to hold back.
Yeah.
Trying to hold back here. Yeah, so I mean, as I think probably everybody is aware, there have been executive orders that have come down directing um, conversations about specific populations. Um, what we're suggesting that you do is, kind of first, obviously use common sense. I mean, that's a fair a fair thing. If you're specifically not sure about a particular phrase or a word, send us an email with it, and we can let you know to the best of our
Right.
um, ability and knowledge also. We are, I want to be very clear that we have to operate within the confines of the government, right? And we absolutely are going to do that because we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to lose our funding. We don't want you to get in trouble. That being said, we're also, understanding that sometimes words are what they are and you have to use them to mean what you mean. But if you can say what you're trying to mean and not use any of those words, that's what I'm going to tell you to do.
Okay. I
Um,
got you.
do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
This
I
is
do.
being recorded, so
I understand.
um,
I understand.
yeah.
Yes.
But you can also, feel free to reach out to us, if there is any question about, whatever.
Okay.
And but what I would just encourage you to do is say what you need to say, but maybe be a little bit more general about it. And if we, as the when we're reviewing we'll, if we have question, we'll let you know. Because again, it's in our best interest to fund you. So does that answer?
Yes, it does. Enough said.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Rachel, I see your hand again.
Yeah, and another really quick question. So the budget template, if we don't really need to do that if we just put in the, I mean, mine's pretty straightforward, registration, supplies and stuff like that. Do you necessarily need to do the template, the budget template? No, okay. Okay. And then if you do get funded, where would the invoices be sent to you, or will that be stated, when you're awarded as to who the invoices go to and the final reports?
Yeah, so we put all of that in writing to you if you are funded.
Okay.
We'll give you everything that you need to know about the reporting process and so forth. But yeah, the just so everybody is aware, none of the money is given up front. It's all reimbursable to you after the fact, with the exception being like if it's a professional development award, we'll pay the registration and stuff like that up front. But everything else is you'll submit an invoice or receipts to us afterward and get reimbursed for it. So and be clear about that. So yes, Rachel, we give you everything you need to know in terms of who, what, where. Angela's really the keeper of all of this and holds us all together with where things go. But yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm. Karen?
Sorry, clicked unmute, didn't unclick. And again, I'm sorry, I am late to the party because I had another meeting.
That's
So
okay.
you may have already addressed this. And also, I didn't read everything beforehand, so it may have already been fixed. But last year, I was going to go for the professional development, and there was that big, huge workshop. I think it was evidence-based medicine. And again, I'm sorry, I didn't pull up the information, so I don't have the exact title.
Mhm.
That looked really good, but they didn't coincide. They were just off by, I don't know, a couple weeks or a month or whatever, where you had to apply for it and then you had to use it by this time, and the workshop was like right after that or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? And
Yes, I do. So essentially what we're talking about now is funding for year 5, which begins on May 1st. So anything that you would be applying for now would have to take place between May 1st and April 30th of 26.
and that workshop for 26, if I remember correctly, does it start in April usually? I think it just wasn't. It didn't. It just. If I don't know. I guess I can write to you.
Yeah, check
directly.
your dates and then just follow up with us.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
best thing to do is to apply, and if it runs up into the deadline and so forth, we will reach out to you and say, this is what works, this what doesn't.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
I
Because
encourage you
there are
just to
some
apply.
things, there are some things that do happen like right on the cusp. For example, this year, the Medical Library Association meeting starts at the very end of April and goes into May.
Oh, that's
So
different.
what does that mean? How do we do that? We could do the stuff that is in April. So like the registration happens beforehand. So like that could be done. But some of the other parts of it that would have to be reimbursed afterward. So
Yeah.
it's, just if you're send the dates to us and we'll work with you. Angela will let you know what will and will not work.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Julia? Julia, are you there?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute.
Okay.
No, can you just talk about what it means to be sustainable for the exhibition project and like examples of that?
For the exhibit awards, I don't know that there is a sustainability component to that. We do ask for that, like if, if you're doing an outreach award, what's, the funding's going to run out, but what are your plans to keep this going afterward, or are you going to be able to? But I don't think there is a sustainability aspect for exhibiting.
Okay, because my grant people are asking like what that would be
Uh-huh.
because they've looked through the application. So that's why I was
Maybe make sure that they looked at the right one.
okay.
Just double check that.
Okay.
I want to just let you all know we need to wrap up at 1:45 today, so we have a few more minutes left. So Rachel?
I could kind of address the sustainability for an exhibit. In the past, when I've done exhibits, and I'm thinking this is sustainability, I have gotten a lot of requests to provide additional workshops. So even though my work in the exhibit was a one-time shot or, 2 days, I consider my presence at that exhibit sustaining my work as an outreach librarian because I was requested from agencies who were either right beside me or who also provided help to the elderly population to provide workshops. So even though, like I said, it was a one-time shot, I was continually sustaining my work from exhibiting. I don't know if that kind of coincides, but I think it does.
Yeah, it
That's
can mean
helpful to
a lot of
me.
different things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Heather, I want just really quickly. So Mia Barron, I may be pronouncing it incorrectly, asked in the chat, what is the best award to apply for when partnering with community organizations?
Yeah, Mia, I see your hand.
Yeah, we just answered that in the chat.
Yeah.
It's been answered. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, the Health Information Outreach Award. If you're not sure about one, of course, you always feel free to contact us, but the award applications each, I think, do a pretty good job of saying what their intended purpose, or qualifications, maybe is a better word, are for them. So read them, but if you still have a question, just let us know. But for community organizations, absolutely, outreach would be the best. We have maybe one more question. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for your time and attendance. I am so happy to see that there are so many people who came today. This is great for us and hopefully great for you. Reach out to us if you have any questions at all. And we look forward to seeing all of your applications come in sometime between now and April 4th when the date cuts off. Thank you.